The alarm bells rang through the halls of the exploration vessel Horizon. Red lights flashed, pulling crew members from their sleep cycles and daily tasks. Captain Ellen Morris rushed to the bridge, her heart beating fast. After 15 years, in space she knew emergency alarms never meant good news. "Report," she ordered as the bridge door slid open. Her voice was calm, despite the chaos around her. First Officer Keith Grayson looked up from his station. "Captain, we picked up a distress signal. Very weak. Coming from the edge of the Cygnus sector." Ellen frowned. The Cygnus sector was mostly empty space with some asteroid fields. No colonies, no shipping routes, nobody should be out there. "Any identification on the signal?" she asked, sliding into her command chair. Communications Officer Donna Reed shook her head. "That's the strange part, Captain. It's not using any known format. The computer barely recognized it as a distress call at all." Ellen studied the main screen where a blinking red dot showed the signal's location. The Horizon was on a routine mapping mission, but this was more important. Rules of space were clear. All distress calls must be answered. "Set course maximum speed," Ellen ordered, "and alert medical to prepare for possible survivors." The Horizon changed direction, its powerful engines pushing it through the darkness of space. The crew worked with quiet focus. In the 6 hours it took to reach the signal's source, they prepared rescue equipment, medical supplies, and security measures. No one knew what they would find. Keith stood by Ellen's chair as they entered the asteroid field. "Captain, I've checked all records. No ships reported missing in this area. No settlements. Whatever's out there, it shouldn't be." Ellen nodded. "Keep sensors at maximum range. I don't want any surprises." The ship moved slowly through the asteroid field. Massive rocks, floating around them like silent watchers. Finally they saw it. The broken remains of a spacecraft unlike anything in human records. It was huge, at least 3 times the size of the Horizon. Its hull was dark purple with strange patterns that seemed to shift when you looked at them. Too long. "My God," whispered Science Officer Dr. Olivia Martinez. "That's not human technology." Ellen felt a chill run down her spine. Humans had been exploring space for over a century but had never found proof of intelligent alien life. Until now. "Life signs?" she asked, her mouth suddenly dry. Keith checked his scanner, adjusting settings several times. "1, Captain. Very faint. Whatever it is, it's barely alive." Security Chief Alan Peters moved his hand to his weapon. "Captain, we should be careful. We don't know what's out there or what happened to that ship." Ellen understood his worry. The alien vessel was torn apart, huge sections missing. Scorch. Marks covered what remained. This wasn't an accident. Someone had attacked this ship with powerful weapons and left it to drift. "Noted, Chief Peters," she said. "But I won't ignore a dying being, human or not. Prep a shuttle, I want a closer look." Dr. Frank Wilson from Medical joined them on the bridge. "Captain, my team is ready, but we have no idea what we're dealing with. Different biology, unknown diseases." "Do your best, Doctor," Ellen said firmly. "That's all I ask." As the rescue team prepared, Olivia studied the alien ship. "Captain, look at these readings. The damage pattern shows the attack happened at least 2 weeks ago. Whatever is still alive in there has been slowly dying all this time." Ellen felt a surge of anger. What kind of beings would do this? Attack a ship and leave survivors to die slowly in the cold of space? The shuttle launched with Ellen, Keith, Alan, Frank, and 2 security officers. As they approached the wreckage, the true size of the alien ship became clear. Their shuttle looked like a toy next to it. "There," Keith pointed to a torn section of hull. "We can enter through that breach." Ellen guided the shuttle through the opening, landing in what seemed to be a cargo area. The team put on their spacesuits. The alien ship had no air or heat. "Remember," Ellen said over the suit radios, "we're here to help, but stay alert. Chief Peters, your team goes first." They moved through the dark halls of the dead ship, their lights casting long shadows. Strange symbols covered the walls. The architecture was both beautiful and alien, with curved walls and doorways too large for humans. "The life sign is ahead," Keith said, checking his scanner. Getting stronger. They entered a large room that seemed to be the bridge. Control panels lined the walls, all dark and lifeless, and there, in the center, they found it. The alien was huge, at least 9 feet tall with 6 limbs and a body covered in iridescent scales that shimmered even in the dim light. Its 4 eyes were closed, and it lay still in what looked like a command chair built for its massive frame. Around its neck was an odd metal collar that glowed with faint blue light. "Is it alive?" Ellen whispered, staring at the massive being. Dr. Wilson scanned it with medical equipment. "Barely. Its life functions are incredibly slow. Like deep hibernation, but I'm picking up brain activity. It's aware, at least partly." Chief Peters kept his weapon ready. "Captain, we should consider the risks. We know nothing about this species." Ellen approached the alien slowly. It was injured, with deep wounds visible on its body. Someone had hurt it badly and left it here to die a slow, painful death. "We're bringing it aboard," she said, her voice leaving no room for argument. "I won't leave a conscious being to suffer like this." As they prepared to move the alien, Ellen noticed something strange. The walls around them were covered with what looked like claw marks, deep scratches in the metal. The alien had been trying to escape, to save itself even as its ship died around it. "Chief Peters, look at this," she said, pointing to the marks. "Whatever this is, it fought hard to stay alive. I respect that." They called for a larger shuttle with a medical pod big enough for the alien. As they waited, Ellen couldn't shake the feeling that this discovery would change everything. Humans were not alone in the universe, and their first contact was with a victim, someone who needed their help. "What do you think happened here, Captain?" Keith asked quietly. Ellen looked at the dying alien, the destroyed ship, and the desperate claw marks on the walls. "War," she said simply. "And I think we just picked a side." Getting the alien onto the horizon was not easy. It weighed more than 6 humans combined. And even with anti-gravity sleds, the rescue team struggled. The creature's massive body barely fit through the ship's corridors. "Clear the way," Ellen shouted as they rushed toward the medical bay. The crew members pressed against walls, staring with wide eyes at the alien being. Most had never believed they would see proof of alien life, let alone something so massive and strange. Dr. Frank Wilson had cleared the main medical bay and prepared the largest surgery table. As they placed the alien down, the table groaned under its weight. "Everyone out except medical staff," Frank ordered, already scanning the creature with advanced tools. "I need space to work." Ellen nodded to her team. "Good work, everyone. Chief Peters, post 2 guards outside. The rest of you back to your stations." She stayed behind, watching as Frank and his team moved around the alien with a mix of fear and wonder. The creature's scales shimmered under the bright lights, changing colors slightly with each slow breath. "Can you help it?" Ellen asked after several minutes of tense silence. Frank looked up from his scans, his face pale. "Captain, I don't even know where to begin. Its biology is like nothing I've ever seen. Multiple hearts, breathing system that processes at least 3 different types of gases, brain structure that seems to have redundant pathways." He shook his head. "It's amazing, but I'm not sure what's normal for this species and what's injury." Ellen moved closer, studying the metal collar around the alien's neck. "What about this? Could it be some kind of control device?" "Maybe," Frank said, scanning it carefully. "It seems to connect to the alien's nervous system. I wouldn't try removing it, though. It might be keeping it alive." Ship engineer Patrick Chen entered the medical bay, carrying scanning equipment. "Captain, I heard we have a visitor." Ellen nodded. "Pat, I need everything you can tell me about that collar. It looks like technology, not just jewelry." Patrick moved around the table, running his scanner over the metal band. "Definitely tech. And way beyond ours. It's putting out energy patterns I've never seen before." He looked up with worried eyes. "Captain, I think this might be both a prison and a torture device." Ellen felt sick. "You mean someone put this on it to make it suffer?" "Looks that way," Patrick confirmed. It seems to be monitoring life signs and maybe even slowing them down, keeping our friend here alive but in pain. Security Chief Alan Peters entered with Dr. Olivia Martinez. Captain, we've analyzed the data from the alien ship, Alan reported. It was definitely attacked by multiple vessels. The weapon signatures don't match anything in our database. Olivia added. We also found some interesting information. The ship's design suggests it was a diplomatic or scientific vessel, not a warship, no major weapons systems. Ellen processed this information looking at the massive alien. With its claws and powerful body, it certainly looked dangerous. But appearances could be misleading. So either this is a peaceful being that was attacked, without reason, she said slowly, or it did something to make powerful enemies. Either way, Frank cut in. It's been suffering for weeks. If we want to save it, I need to stabilize its condition. Ellen nodded. Do what you can, Doctor. I want to know who this is and what happened to it. For 3 days, the medical team worked around the clock. The alien remained unconscious, its huge body hooked up to equipment that Frank had to modify for its unusual biology. The engineer team studied the collar but couldn't risk removing it without more information. On the 4th day, Ellen was on the bridge when the call came. Captain to medical bay, immediately. Frank's voice was urgent. She ran all the way there, finding the medical team backed against the wall. The alien was awake, its 4 eyes open and alert, massive body trying to rise from the table. It woke up suddenly, Frank explained quickly, started thrashing. We can't hold it down. Ellen took a deep breath and stepped forward, placing herself between her crew and the alien. Everyone stay calm, it's probably just scared. The creature turned its head toward her, all 4 eyes focusing on her face. It was truly massive, its head nearly touching the ceiling as it sat up. The claws on its 6 limbs looked sharp enough to tear through metal. Hello, Ellen said clearly, keeping her hands visible. We found your ship, we're trying to help you. The alien made a series of clicking and whistling sounds. Ellen turned to Communications Officer Donna Reed, who had rushed in with a translator device. The universal translator doesn't have its language, Donna explained, typing rapidly. I'm feeding in the sounds, trying to create a basic translation matrix. The alien watched them curiously, no longer trying to get up. It seemed to understand. They weren't a threat. After a few minutes, it made more sounds, and this time the translator produced words. Why, small beings. Help. The translation was rough but understandable. Ellen stepped closer. We help because that's what humans do. We don't leave others to die if we can save them. The alien was silent for a moment, its eyes blinking, in an odd pattern. Then it made more sounds. Humans. Not like hunters. Not like Vex. Vex? Ellen asked. Is that who attacked you? Who are they? The massive being tried to rise again, but was too weak. It fell back with a sound that seemed like pain. I am Zirath. Last of Guard. Vex. Destroy my people. Hunt me. Across stars. Ellen felt a chill at those words. You're saying your entire species was destroyed? The alien, Zirath, touched, the collar around its neck with one clawed hand. Not all. Some slaves now. I fought. I failed. Security Chief Allen moved closer, his hand near his weapon. Captain, if this thing brought some kind of interstellar war to our doorstep, we don't know that, Ellen interrupted. And even if trouble is coming, we couldn't have left it to die. She turned back to Zirath. Why were you running? What did the Vex want from you? Zirath touched the collar again. Knowledge, here. All my people. History. And Vex. Weakness. Its 4 eyes looked directly at Ellen. They want silence. The medical bay went quiet as everyone understood the implications. This wasn't just a random alien. It was a refugee carrying important secrets. Secrets that could threaten whoever these Vex were. Well, Ellen said firmly, they made a big mistake when they left you for humans to find. Over the next few days, Zerath grew stronger. The medical team kept him in a special room they had cleared out. Regular beds were too small for the 9-foot alien. As Zerath recovered, Communications Officer Donna Reed worked constantly to improve the translation system, feeding in more of the alien's language patterns. Captain Ellen visited daily, bringing questions and sometimes just sitting quietly. She found the massive alien's presence calming despite his frightening appearance. Today she had brought Dr. Olivia to learn more about Zerath's people. "Your world," Ellen asked gently. "Can you tell us about it?" Zerath's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, something they now recognized as a sign of deep thought. The translator, much improved, conveyed his words clearly. Drakari homeworld was beautiful. 3 moons, 2 suns, mostly water, with floating cities. Zerath made a sad whistling sound. "Now it burns. Vex mining machines dig deep. My people work as slaves." "And you?" Olivia asked. "You said you were part of a guard? What does that mean?" "Drakari Honor Guard," Zerath explained, his massive clawed hand making a gesture across his chest. Protectors of knowledge, history, culture, not warriors, Drakari were peaceful for many generations. When Vex came, we were not ready. "How did the Vex find your world?" Ellen asked. "They find all worlds eventually," Zerath said. "They build empire across stars. 50 systems, maybe more. They take resources, slaves. Those who fight are made examples." He touched the collar around his neck. "Like me." Olivia leaned forward, scanning the collar again. "We still don't understand this device. Is it just torture or does it have another purpose?" Zerath's scales shifted color slightly, a sign of distress they had come to recognize. "It holds me, hurts me, but also—" He seemed to struggle for words. "It keeps safe what I carry." "And what exactly do you carry?" Ellen asked. She had wondered this since Zerath first mentioned knowledge in the collar. "Everything," Zerath said simply. "All Drakari history, science, art, and most important, map of Vex systems, weaknesses in their defenses, how to fight them." Alan Peters, who had been quietly standing near the door, stepped forward. "So you're not just a refugee. You're carrying military intelligence about this empire." Zerath looked at the security chief with all 4 eyes. "Yes, last mission of Honor Guard. Save our knowledge if world falls." His voice grew stronger. "I failed to save my people, but not their legacy." Ellen studied the alien carefully. "And the Vex want this information destroyed, that's why they were hunting you." "Yes." Zerath made a sound like a bitter laugh. "Death too quick for traitor. They make me watch my world burn, then leave me to die slowly. Warning to others who might resist." The room fell quiet as they all processed this information. Ellen broke the silence first. "How far is Vex territory from here? Are we in danger?" Zerath's eyes blinked rapidly. "Not yet. But they expand always, hunt always. They find me eventually, even here." Olivia looked worried. "Captain, if what Zerath says is true, humanity could be facing a threat unlike anything we've encountered." Ellen nodded slowly. "We need to bring this to Earth Command." She turned to Zerath. "Would you be willing to share what you know with our leaders?" "Yes," Zerath said without hesitation. "Drakari fought alone, lost alone." His huge hand gestured around the room. "Humans helped when no one else would. I help now." Ellen smiled. "Then we'll set course for Earth. Our leaders need to hear this directly." 3 days later, as the horizon approached Earth, Ellen sat with Zerath in the observation room. The alien had never seen Earth before, and watched with all 4 eyes, white as the blue planet grew larger in the viewing window. "Beautiful," Zerath said softly, "like my world once was." Ellen nodded. "We've had our own struggles, wars, problems, but we've managed to keep our home safe." Zerath turned his massive head toward her. "Humans, strange species. Small bodies, but—" He tapped his chest with one claw. "Strong here, brave." "Not always," Ellen admitted. "We can be cruel too. But most of us try to do what's right. Like saving enemies? Zirath asked. Were you our enemy? Ellen countered. No, but Vex will say I am. We'll say Drakari deserved punishment, that humans interfere where not belong. Zirath's voice carried worry. They will come here too eventually, because of me. Ellen shook her head firmly. They would have come anyway. At least now we have warning and information that might help us. Patrick Chen entered the observation room, looking excited. Captain, I've been studying the energy patterns from Zirath's collar. I think with his help we might be able to access the data stored inside. Ellen looked at Zirath. Would you allow that? Yes. But dangerous. Collar has protections. Wrong move, all data lost. Or worse. Patrick nodded seriously. I'll be careful. We can start with small tests. A voice came over the ship's speakers. Captain, to the bridge. We're receiving a transmission from Earth Command. Ellen stood. Looks like they're eager to meet our guest. She smiled at Zirath. Ready to meet more humans? Zirath rose to his full height, towering over the humans. Ready. But your leaders, will they believe? Will they help? They'll believe, Ellen said confidently. And as for help, that's what humans do. The meeting with Earth Command was tense. Admiral Ray Dixon and 5 other high-ranking officers sat around a large conference table staring at Zirath with expressions ranging from awe to suspicion. Ellen had brought her senior crew, Keith, Olivia, Frank, Patrick, and Alan. Let me be clear, Admiral Dixon said after hearing their report. You're suggesting that an advanced alien empire exists just beyond our explored space, that they've destroyed multiple civilizations, and that they might eventually target Earth? Yes, sir, Ellen confirmed. Zirath has first-hand knowledge of their capabilities. Dixon looked at the alien. And we're supposed to trust this information? For all we know, his species could be the aggressors, and these Vex, the victims. Zirath remained calm, though his scales darkened slightly. Drakari never left home system, wanted only peace. Vex take world after world, always hunger for more. Patrick stepped forward. Admiral, we've been studying the technology in Zirath's collar. It's centuries beyond anything we have. If the Vex created it, they're far more advanced than us. Dixon frowned. Which makes them even more dangerous to provoke. Ellen met the Admiral's eyes. With respect, sir, hiding won't save us. The Vex expand constantly. Earth will be found eventually. At least now we have warning, and possibly a way to defend ourselves. The Admiral studied her, then looked at Zirath. And you're willing to help us, why? Zirath's 4 eyes focused on Dixon. Humans saved me when all hope gone, showed kindness to stranger. My people have saying, those who share water in desert share blood in battle. Dixon looked confused, and Ellen explained, I think he means we're allies now because we helped him. Zirath nodded. Yes, allies. The massive alien looked around the room at all the humans. Small allies, but perhaps exactly what galaxy needs. The next 2 weeks were busy on Earth. Zirath became the center of intense study and planning. The massive alien met with scientists, military leaders, and government officials almost daily. Some were afraid of him, others fascinated, but all needed the information he carried. Engineer Patrick Chen worked with a team of Earth's best scientists to safely extract data from Zirath's collar without triggering its security measures. It was delicate work. One wrong move could destroy everything. The collar has multiple layers of protection, Patrick explained during one meeting, pointing to holographic diagrams. It's designed to kill Zirath and erase all data if removed incorrectly. Admiral Dixon frowned. How much longer until you can access the information? Another day, maybe 2, Patrick replied. We're being careful. Ellen sat beside Zirath during these meetings, noticing how tired the alien seemed. Despite his massive size and fearsome appearance, she had come to see him as a friend, one who carried a heavy burden. Are you okay? She asked quietly during a break. Zirath's scales had lost some of their shine. Memories are difficult. Speaking of home, knowing it is lost, Ellen nodded. I understand, but you're keeping your people alive by sharing their story. Zerath made a sound like a sad laugh. Perhaps, if humans listen. He looked around at the busy humans in the room. Some believe. Others think Zerath brings only trouble. He wasn't wrong. While many humans worked to help, others argued for caution. Some even suggested turning Zerath over to the Vex if they came. A sacrifice to save Earth. On the third day, Patrick finally succeeded. The collar released its hold on the data without harming Zerath. Computer screens around the room filled with strange symbols, the stored knowledge of the Drakari civilization. It worked, Patrick shouted, his face glowing with excitement. Everything's intact. The translation systems began processing the information, converting it to something humans could understand. Star maps appeared, showing the extent of Vex territory. Technical information about their ships and weapons. Cultural records of dozens of conquered worlds. And most importantly, detailed information about Vex defense systems. Admiral Dixon studied the military data with growing concern. According to this, the Vex have conquered over 50 star systems. Their fleet is massive. General Kyle Benson, head of Earth's defense forces, nodded grimly. But look here. Their command structure is rigid. They don't adapt quickly to new tactics. And their shield technology has a weakness, Engineer Patrick added, pointing to technical diagrams. Their ships use a standardized frequency pattern. If we can match it and reverse it, we could penetrate their shields. Dixon finished, looking impressed. Good work, Chen. Throughout this discovery, Zerath sat quietly, watching the humans work. Ellen noticed his silence. You okay? She asked. Yes, relieved. Information safe now. Zerath looked at her with all four eyes. Now humans decide what to do with it. The decision came sooner than expected. The next morning, alarm sirens blared throughout the Earth Defense headquarters. Ellen rushed to the command center with Zerath following behind. Admiral Dixon was already there, his face grim. Deep space sensors picked up 6 ships entering our solar system, he announced as they arrived. Design matches Zerath's description of Vex scout vessels. Ellen felt a chill. They found us. How? Zerath's scales darkened with emotion. Collar has tracking. I warned this might happen. Dixon nodded. We expected this. That's why we kept Zerath here at the defense base rather than in a population center. General Benson pointed to the tactical displays. The Vex ships will reach Earth orbit in 3 days. Based on their approach vector, they don't know exactly where Zerath is. Just that he's somewhere on this planet. And behind those scouts? Ellen asked, dreading the answer. Long-range sensors show a much larger fleet following, Dixon confirmed. At least 30 capital ships. They're about 2 weeks behind the scouts. The room fell silent as everyone processed this information. This wasn't just about Zerath anymore. This was first contact with an alien empire, one known for conquest, not peace. Options? Dixon asked, looking around the room. General Benson spoke first. We have 3 days to prepare for the scouts. We could try hiding Zerath, but that's just delaying the inevitable. Or we could return him to the Vex, someone suggested from the back of the room. Show we're not harboring their enemy. Zerath stood silently, his massive frame towering over the humans, but he made no protest. He had expected this. Sacrifice was something he understood. Ellen stepped forward. No, we don't abandon people we've promised to help. She looked directly at Admiral Dixon. Besides, even if we handed over Zerath, do you really think the Vex would just leave? They'd see Earth as another world to conquer. Dixon considered this, then nodded slowly. Captain Morris is right. Now that they know we exist, appeasing them won't work. We need to send a message. What kind of message? Asked General Benson. Dixon's face hardened. That humans aren't easy prey. We use what we've learned from Zerath's data. We fight. The next 3 days were a blur of activity. Earth's defense forces prepared for battle, using Zerath's information to modify their weapons. Ships gathered, In orbit, crews training with new tactical programs based on known Vex weaknesses. Ellen found herself assigned to command the Horizon, now equipped with modified weapons designed to penetrate Vex shields. Zerath would accompany her. His knowledge of Vex tactics could be crucial in battle. On the morning of the expected arrival, Ellen stood on the bridge of her ship, looking out at Earth below. She had never imagined her exploration vessel would become part of Earth's first line of defense against an alien invasion. "Captain," Keith said from his station, "all systems ready. Fleet is in position." Ellen nodded. "And Zerath?" "In the tactical room, helping coordinate our attack patterns." Ellen took a deep breath. She was the explorer, not a warrior, but today, she would need to be both. "Send a message to all ships. We hold position until the Vex are within range. Then we show them that humans protect their own, even when their own includes 9-foot aliens with 4 eyes." Keith smiled despite the tension. "Yes, Captain." On the tactical display, 6 red dots appeared at the edge of the solar system. The Vex scouts had arrived exactly when predicted. Earth's defenders watched as the alien ships accelerated toward them, no doubt expecting easy victory against a primitive world. "They're scanning us," Olivia reported from the science station, probably surprised to find us waiting for them. Ellen straightened her uniform. "Let them be surprised. It won't be the last time humans exceed their expectations." As the Vex ships drew closer, Ellen looked around at her crew, humans who had never expected to face an alien empire but who stood ready nonetheless. She thought of Zerath, the last guardian of a fallen civilization, now fighting alongside a new ally. "All ships," she ordered, her voice steady. "Prepare to engage." The 6 Vex scout ships entered Earth's orbit with obvious confidence. Their sleek, dark vessels were twice the size of Earth's largest ships. They moved in perfect formation, clearly not expecting serious resistance. "They're hailing us, communications," Officer Donna reported. "Audio only," Ellen nodded. "Let's hear what they have to say." A harsh, mechanical voice filled the bridge. "Primitive species, you harbor a criminal of the Vex Dominion. Surrender the Drakari traitor immediately or face elimination." Ellen looked at Zerath, who stood quietly beside her on the bridge. The alien gave a small nod. "This is Captain Ellen Morris of Earth," she responded calmly. "We found Zerath nearly dead and helped him. He is under our protection now. We do not surrender friends to their executioners." There was a pause before the Vex responded. "You do not understand your position, human. The Vex Dominion rules 50 systems. Your world will be the 51st. Last warning, surrender the traitor." Ellen signaled to cut the transmission. She turned to her crew. "All ships, ready weapons. Target their lead vessel using the modified frequencies." The Earth fleet of 20 ships moved into attack position. They were smaller than the Vex scouts, but they had one advantage: surprise. "They're powering weapons," Keith reported from his station. "Fire first," Ellen ordered. "All ships, fire now." The Earth fleet fired as one, their beams appearing to pass right through the Vex shields. The lead scout ship shuddered as multiple hits struck its hull. "Direct hits," Patrick shouted. Their shields failed exactly as predicted. The Vex ships quickly scattered, clearly shocked by the effectiveness of Earth's weapons. They returned, fire but seemed unsure, their perfect formation broken. "They're confused," Zerath observed, his 4 eyes watching the tactical display. "Vex expect easy victory. They don't adapt well to surprise." Ellen nodded. "Let's surprise them more. All ships, new attack pattern. Target their engines and weapons." The battle that followed was short but fierce. 2 Earth ships were badly damaged, but 4 Vex scouts were disabled. The remaining 2 turned and fled, accelerating rapidly away from Earth. "They're retreating," Keith announced as cheers broke out across the bridge. "Let them go," Ellen ordered. "We want them to report back to their fleet." Admiral Dixon's face appeared on the main screen. "Good work, Morris. But this was just the first test. The main fleet will be more cautious now that they know we can fight." "Yes, sir," Ellen agreed. "But we've sent a message. Earth isn't an easy target." In the 2 weeks that followed, Earth prepared for the real battle. More ships were fitted with the modified weapons. Defense platforms were built in orbit. And most importantly, the data from Xerath's collar revealed the location of every Vex world and outpost. We don't have to just defend, General Benson pointed out during one strategy meeting. We could strike their key bases after we defeat their fleet here. The day the main Vex fleet arrived, 30 massive warships entered the solar system. Earth was ready with 60 ships of its own, plus the orbital platforms. Ellen stood on the bridge of the horizon once more. Beside her, Xerath watched as his former tormentors approached. "Are you ready?" Ellen asked him quietly. "Yes," Xerath replied. Today, Vex learned an important lesson about leaving enemies alive. The battle for Earth began with the Vex sending a final demand for surrender. Earth's answer was a coordinated attack that caught the alien fleet by surprise. The modified weapons sliced through Vex shields, causing damage and confusion. The Vex commander attempted to adapt, but his rigid tactics were no match for the creative human captains who changed their attack patterns constantly. When the Vex flagship exploded after a direct hit to its power core, the remaining ships broke formation and retreated. As cheers erupted throughout Earth's fleet, Ellen turned to Xerath. The massive alien placed one giant claw gently on her shoulder. "Humans small," he said, his voice filled with respect. "But Earth not become 51st conquered world. Instead, Vex learn fear today." Ellen smiled up at her alien friend. "This is just the beginning, Xerath. Now we take the fight to them. For Earth, for the Drakari, and for all the worlds they've enslaved." Xerath's 4 eyes gleamed brightly. "Together," he said simply, "we show galaxy that size not determine strength. Spirit does." As the Vex fleet disappeared into deep space, humanity looked to the stars with new purpose. They were not alone in the universe, and now neither was Xerath. The end